classroom. Ray and Edwards. It's edutainment like you've never seen before.
Artists can send their characters directly to Mudbox using the Send to Mudbox file option. This creates a live connection between Maya LT and Mudbox, allowing artists to send changes back and forth. Maya LT even sends the materials and textures to Mudbox. Those textures can include normal and specular maps. Make changes to the original character's base mesh topology using Mudbox's intuitive sculpting brushes, or paint textures with the painting tools. Create ambient occlusion maps, normal maps, and displacement maps inside of Mudbox with ease, and then send all the sculpting and texturing changes right back to Maya LT with the click of a button. Changes to the character in Maya LT can also be resent to Mudbox just as easily.
In this presentation, we're going to be looking at how we can use Mudbox and Maya from the Media Entertainment collection to do a traditional film and TV shot. We're going to start off with Mudbox. Mudbox is an awesome tool for sculpting and texturing based on industry standard workflows. Artists can choose to use either a UV-based workflow or a P-text-based workflow. The first step in the process is adding a new layer to the diffuse channel and setting a base color. Next, we're going to add in some basic shapes and colors with brushes that have mirroring enabled. Brush stamps and paint stencils can be created from images that are imported, including PNGs with alphas. During the painting process, stencils can quickly be fit to the model using hotkeys to adjust the scale, position, and orientation. By adding detail, we're helping establish the scale of the vehicle and making parts of the ship have a sense of purpose. As you can see, we can work with individual layers and they can be adjusted and blended together. Now we can use the stencils to add some damage and imperfections to the specular channels. Layers give you the ability to quickly iterate on your design ideas. Here we're using the HSV tool to try out different color ideas. After the painting and texturing is completed, the artist saves out the FBX file to bring the data back into 3ds Max or Maya. Here we are in Maya to continue the look development of our eraser using a couple of maps that were made in Mudbox. The first one is our base color, and the second map is a scratch map that we're going to be using in a few different areas on the physically based standard surface shader. The first thing that we're going to do is map our base color. And as soon as we do that, you'll notice that Viewport 2.0 does a really good job of previewing what the software render is going to look like directly in the viewport, which is super cool. Now with that done, we want to start to refine the specular model on this ship. The first thing I want to do is get a nice broad specular highlight, and I'll get that by just increasing the roughness value up to around a range of 0.4. Now with that done, I want to break that specularity up with that scratch map. So we're just going to pipe in the out alpha into the specular weighting, and you'll see that the specularity starts to break up, but we've lost the sense of that bright spot where the sun was. To get that, I want to layer a second level of specularity on top of this broad diffuse level, and this is easily done inside of the standard surface shader with Coat. For all practical purposes, Coat is a second level specularity built into the shader. So if we just turn that on by putting the value up to 1, you'll see that we get that nice tight highlight back on top of that big broad diffuse highlight. Now obviously we need to break that specularity model up on the tight highlight also using that same scratch map. So we're going to grab the out alpha and map that into the Coat weighting. So that breaks it up a little bit, but it's not quite as extreme as I want. Really what I want to do is I want to drive my roughness value with this same map. The areas that are scratched up, I want a broad highlight in. So to do that, we need to flip the value range of the map, and that's easily done with a utility node inside of Maya. So if we just hit our tab key and start to type reverse, we can grab a reverse node and we can just grab the out color of that map and use this now to drive our Coat roughness. So we'll just map that into Coat roughness, and you'll notice that we now have this, highlight that's really starting to break up across that ship where those scratches are, but it's just way too big. It's much broader than what I want. I want that to be a nice tight spot where the sun is. So we need to change the range of values. And this again is easily done with a utility node. In this example, we're going to use set range. So what set range does is it allows you to take your old min, which used to be 0 to 1, and remap that into a new range, which will be something like 0.05, like we saw previously, to a maximum value of something like 0.3. So now we can grab the output of this and use that to drive our Coat roughness. And as soon as we do that, you're going to see we're going to get this really nice tight little highlight that just starts to break up where that roughness map is that was painted inside of Mudbox, which is super, super cool. So that's just a quick example of how we can use two applications, Mudbox and Maya, from the Media and Entertainment Collection to do some look development work. Thanks so much for taking the time to check this out. Cheers, everybody.
Hello and welcome to video number 8. We're going to talk about organizing your content. So in the previous video, we talked about how to go about creating those pieces of content really fast, as you saw. Now I'm going to show you how to organize the content into what we call collections by using Get Stencil. Okay, so what I like about Get Stencil is it allows you to organize all of your content that you've created into what we call collections. And you can think of that as sort of like a folder. So what you need to do is simply go to the Saved Images section. And up at the top here, you want to click this link here, click on Collections, and then of course create collection. So you can create a collection, you can name it, click Create Collection, and that's it. So you will notice that I have about 192 images that are specific to women and about 1 to men. Now, in order to add an image to the collection, all you have to do is highlight the image. So for example, this image is not part of a collection. So all we have to do is simply click this here, and then click Collection, and then add that to that collection. So in this case, we'll select this, and it adds it straight away to this section. So now that you understand how to organize the content, we're going to talk about auto scheduling in the next video. But before we do that, I want to show you how to sort of manually post to social media sites inside of Get Stencil. So what you can do is you can go to your account here, you can go to settings, and then you can connect your account to Facebook and other social media sites that are within Get Stencil. Once you have done that, you can simply select the image that you want to post. Let's say this one here. We can click Share. And as you can see, you can post it manually to Facebook, to Twitter, to Pinterest, to all these other social media sites. But in order to do that, you have to connect to your accounts. So connect to Twitter, connect to all these other social media sites. So all you need to do is simply find the social media site that you want, find the image, click Share, and it'll automatically post that to that particular social media site. And that's it. So now that you know how to do things manually and you know how to organize things, let's talk about auto scheduling in the next video.